Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for yet another match of Super Rugby Pacific. This one, the Reds at Suncorp will be hosting MOANA Pasifika, and what should be a very hard-hitting affair. The Reds, they've got a few returns to their starting lineup. MOANA Pasifika, they have got some players who will definitely want to try and make an impact near the near end of this season, I should say. But nonetheless, we will look through, first of all, at the side of the Reds. They have got Harry Hoffert, Matt Faisler, and Fial Fotuaika as the front row. Then Ryan Smith and Angus Blythe will be 4-5. Suru slots in at number 6. Fraser McWright returning to the side. Same with Harry Wilson at number 8. Then Tate McDermott, James O'Connor, who recently did actually return to the side. Hamish Stewart, Josh Fluke in the midfield. And then it is going to be Suliasi Vunivalu, Jordan Pataya, and Jock Campbell as the back three. Then looking through at MOANA Pasifika side, Abraham Bole in the front row with Ray Nuia and Sakopi Kepu, who is actually possibly being scouted by the Waratahs, perhaps. Might try and sign that man very soon. Then it is Michael Curry at number 4, Samuel Slade at number 5, Sione Toipolotu, Solomoni Funaki, and Henry teammate Stowers as a loose forward trio. Jonathan Tamatine does get the start at number 9. Christian Leleafano, after recently bringing up the 10 or the 1,000 points, in fact, for Super Rugby. He will be raring to go for this game. Danny Tuala, Solomoni Kata, very strong midfield. Tamasi Alosio out on one wing, Tava Nawai out on the other, and then it will be William Havili slotting in as the fullback for MOANA Pasifika. And also we got the Red, says Ollie, and also hi Kiwi Lad, says Ollie there as well. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. And currently, these are the benches that the two sides have gone with. For MOANA Pasifika, I think a player to watch out for will definitely be Henry Taifu. And then for the Reds, I will go for Lipo Dalgunu alongside a couple of those guys in the fullback, such as Connor Vest and also Angus Scott Young, bringing a bit of physicality in the later stages for the Reds. But do let me know what way you think this match is going, ladies and gentlemen. It's at Suncorp. The Reds are yet to get themselves a win up against New Zealand opposition, which is crazy to think because of the fact that they were so high going into the competition. And now they do just have to wait to see whether or not they are going to have themselves a home final, or maybe they will have an away quarter-final match that they do have to try and win for themselves. But the Reds, Suncorp Stadium, it's normally their fortress. They will be trying to defend it here, but Christian Leleafano, he would have played up against quite a few of these Reds players in his past, however many matches he's played. It's got to a random number now, but it is very high indeed. But currently, it is 9:44 p.m. Welcome to Country is being sung currently at the ground. So I believe we're probably around 5 minutes away from the kickoff getting underway. But do let me know who you think will be able to score it first. And also, we were there, gave you COVID-19, so that is not good news for you. So hopefully you will be able to recover relatively quickly for yourself there, Ollie. But currently, the Western Force, they are going to be playing up against the Chiefs tomorrow. That is the first matchup. Then the second game, it is Hurricanes taking on the Rebels. And then the third match that we will be seeing will be the Blues taking on the Brumbies, which is an absolutely massive clash. And cheers on MOANA Pasifika for me, says David the Mod. See, that's the thing. I am almost feeling the same thing, David. For some reason, MOANA Pasifika for me in this game could do good things. It's going to be tough for them. That is going to be definitely the truth. But it's whether or not they can do brilliantly. Australia versus South Africa is not happening at the moment for the Sevens, is it? No, it's the Cup final. They are showing a replay. Of course, they are going to be playing at a very short moment for the Blitz box. They'll be going head-to-head up against Ireland, but we will be covering some of the Sevens on the channel later on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, including the first game that we will be covering. I believe it will be Fiji versus Kenya, and that will be our very first game that we do end up doing. Currently, the Welcome to Country is taking place as well. Okay, I think this is actually going to be a 9:50 p.m. kickoff for this matchup by the looks of it. And also, we have got there, let's give Teddy Bear, and there, as I says, Ollie. But they are wearing the Indigenous kit for the Indigenous round here for the Reds. And it was a nice piece from Filippo Dalgunu just before they did make their way out onto the fields. But now it is going to be MOANA Pasifika as the challengers for this game at Suncorp Stadium. I want to say that I know why that bucket is smoking, or what it is that is making it smoke in terms of what is coming out of that bucket. But I wish I had that information. I do not. But I know that it is part of the culture of the Indigenous people of Australia. But that is the end of the Welcome to Country. Now I believe there will be a little bit of a dance, I think it is. No, thank you very much. That's all they're doing. Okay, they're walking off the field now. I thought last time we had, I think it was in the Western Force territory, and they did actually end up having some sort of dance afterwards, but they did not have it for this one. Oh, yeah, Kiwi lads. And there says Ollie Wilson, but now we are just about ready to go for this matchup. The Reds, they are quickly just warming up just a little bit more, trying to make sure that they do keep their bodies ready for this matchup. The last thing you want is an injury in this game, that is for sure. But do let me know who you think will be the first try scorer of this match, ladies and gentlemen. My money, if I had money, would be on Timothy Tavatavanawai. He's beaten more defenders than anyone else in the competition, and he has played less games than a majority of the players in this competition. I believe he's beaten like 56 defenders in 6 games. So for that reason, I have decided to say that he will be the first try scorer of the match for Moana Pacifica or the Reds. I'm actually saying he is definitely the first one, and also good Ollie man. And there's Ray. But now we are ready to go. It will be Moana Pacifica who are kicking off this game for this matchup at Suncorp Stadium. The second game of Saturday, or Friday night, sorry, for Super Rugby Pacific. Graham Cooper, the Western Australian, going to be in charge of this one. Jordan Way and also Ruben Keane as the touch referees, or assistant referees, I guess you'd say. I'm very excited for this game. I feel like it's going to be a good one, and I hope it delivers to be a very close one, because, I mean, that last game that we saw between the Crusaders and the Fijian Drua, it was not a close one, unfortunately. I'm going to Slide Tackle Read at Soccer on Sunday, and he's going to get dirty. And there says Ollie, well, as long as he's got the ball, I don't think you'll get yourself possibly taken off the field. You got to make sure he's at least got the ball, though, before you end up randomly slide tackling people. We used to have someone who would just slide tackle anyone, really. Just go around the field, slide tackle. They didn't get away with it for very long, I will say. Normally they picked up on it relatively quickly. And now Christian Liliafano about to kick off this game for Moana Pacifica up against the Reds at Suncorp. We are ready to go for Super Rugby Pacific. Second match of the round, and it's going to be straight away knocked down by Siru Uru. Running onto the ball nicely. Ray Nuia has been able to pick it up for Moana Pacifica, and they are just outside of the 22. Christian Liliafano now after William Havili goes for the little chip and chase, and he watches it into touch there for Soliasi Vunivalu. And now it does mean that it is going to be the Reds who have got the line out just inside of the 22. So an interesting early tactic from Moana Pacifica to be going for that one. They're kicking behind, even though they were in a good attacking opportunity. But now Fraser McWright gives it off to Harry Wilson, and it's great to see that man back out on the field, as he will stretch it off not too long ago at all. But now kick downfield from James O'Connor goes straight to Tamote Tavatavanawai off to William Havili. And now kicking it down behind Tomasi Alosio. He will be starting at number 14 for this game, rather than Tima Whaiananuku, who has been having a couple rough performances as of late, unfortunately, for him. Jock Campbell now will be kicking this one downfield, looking for touch, doesn't find it. Christian Liliafano takes it nicely, fires it back across to Havili. This ball is not looking like it's going to be stopped too often throughout the first 5 minutes of this matchup. Now Jonathan Tamatine goes short side off to Slade. He does get a couple post-contact meters from the tackle of Harry Wilson. Tamatine once again pop pass up to Henry Time Stowers. Almost stolen by the Reds, but unable to do so. Rush defense from Fial Fotuwaika. Tried to work out, didn't quite do so. Now Danny Tawala in the midfield. Quickly recycled for Jonathan Tamatine off to Liliafano. Good run forward from Solomoni Funaki. Been looking very impressive in the last few weeks for Moana Pacifica. Wide sling and pass off to Christian Liliafano. One of the Reds players did fall down, but it has gone backwards, so it is going to be play on just for now. Danny Tawala looking for the offload. Wasn't able to find one in the end. Now Tamatine tries to poach his way around the side of the breakdown. Beautiful offload from teammate Stowers. Now going for another one. It's come off the head. And the Reds have got this ball back now. And it is in the hands of Hamish Stewart. So a bit of a mistake from Moana Pacifica, but they win the penalty for their work in the breakdown. Right. So I don't think we're going to have too many stoppages in this match by the looks of it, the way that both sides have come out firing in the early stages of the match. It was good phases put together from Moana Pacifica. And like they're saying, they have got some good players on the outside if they do need them. But they weren't quite able to find them in just that instance. But now Moana Pacifica, I believe, It is in the kicking distance of Christian Leliafano, but yes, they're going for the corner. That is exactly what you want to see in an early stage of a match. When you've had more of the possession, you don't want to let that reprieve go and kind of, I guess, relieve some of the stress that would have been on the Reds' defence. Okay, MOANA Pasifika have been told to go. At this stage, there is no scoreboard on the screen or time, so I will just make it up as I go, I guess. At this point in time, we'll say it's 2.5 minutes into the game. It's going to be stolen nicely by, it was, I believe, Angus Blythe who was able to get in there, and now it's a penalty in favour of MOANA Pasifika. Jonathan Tamatine considered taking it quickly. Now this might be the time that they decide to go for the 3, as that one did not quite work. It was beautifully stolen by Angus Blythe, just throwing himself down, getting probably winded in the process, I would think, the way that he landed on his back. But it looks like they are going to be, what's the decision? They are kicking for the corner once again, MOANA Pasifika. They know that they need a lot of points on the board to be able to get themselves a win here, rather than just taking on the 3 points. But Ray Nuia having one stolen from him, how does that affect the mindset for this line out? Who do you go to? They go to the front. Beautiful rolling maul. Starting to open up off the back. Ray Nuia, great hands, because it was not the best pass that went out to him from Sione Tuipolotu. Now Solomone Funaki, he's over the line and he's down as well. And MOANA Pasifika score the first try of the match up against the Reds at Suncorp. And that is a brilliant start to the match for them. And they will be loving every minute of the early stages. But MOANA Pasifika, it pays off for them going aggressive in the early stages. And Solomone Funaki does go in to score the try. We'll go like this. Funaki, there we go. Oh, missed a letter. Funaki, there we go. And he scored in the 4th minute. Congratulations to MOANA Pasifika for starting this match exactly how they would have planned to. The Reds just haven't really had the ball, which is the big difference maker in the early stages, because if they don't have the ball, they can't play with it. And if they don't get to play with it, can't get themselves the points on the board. But nicely done from Solomone Funaki, the big man, at number 7, scores the try for Pasifika. Now they're 5-0 up after only about 4 minutes or so. Now Jonathan Tamatine just having a bit of a chat with his team, making sure that everyone knows the game plan. Christian Leliafano, he has got 1,000 points at Super Rugby level. Can he get it? It's about 25 metres out on the angle here for him. And he curls it around beautifully, and that will now make the score 7-0. Happy Friday, bro, from the Netherlands, says Josh. So welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Who are you picking to be able to win this game, Josh? Do let me know. I know that MOANA Pasifika to win this game, they were $8 underdogs for this matchup, but they have started this match. I mean, it's a dream start, really. It couldn't have gone any better for MOANA Pasifika for the first couple minutes. They got themselves a couple penalties, and then from there, they were also able to help themselves towards the try line. Now kicking it towards the touchline. Didn't quite go the 10, and MOANA Pasifika have been able to get this ball back once again. Seruuru does end up giving away the penalty. Now will be fired back for the back line to do what they do. William Havili kicks it down the middle. It's a bit of a nothing kick, and it will be going back now for that penalty in favour of MOANA Pasifika. Currently 3 penalties against them. I don't know what they're doing with the scoreboard, but they've just got first half running in between the two sides rather than actually having the time on the clock, which is weird, because normally it is the other way around, how they'd have just the clock rather than the half. And also, surprise, 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 MOANA Pasifika ahead. And there says MH Joy, they certainly are. And they've been playing very nicely in the early stages. They need to keep this pressure on the Reds, though. As soon as you allow the Reds to take that breath, reset their structure, that is when you get in trouble. Pasifika, I hope. I don't think the Reds will be too good, says Josh H there as well. So I guess question for you, Josh. Sevens. If you are a fan of sevens, do the Netherlands have a sevens rugby team? And is there any chance of the sevens side making it to the World Cup for the South African sevens a little bit later on in the year? Do let me know. That's going to be stolen once again by the Reds. So it's lucky that their line out is functioning, because it does mean that they have been able to save themselves twice now. Now taken nicely by William Havili. Goes across to Tamasi Alosio, kicks it down the middle of the field. It's going to be taken nicely by James O'Connor, who is covering a lot of meters at the back there. Now kicks it downfield, trying to slice it awkwardly, taken nicely by Christian Leliafano, though. And he is linking up with Tavatava Nawai. He now has the ball, good tackle on him by James O'Connor. And also it is going to be a clean turnover from Hamish Stewart. Now going short side, McDermott off to Harry Wilson. close to the touchline, but he has been able to shuffle his way just a little bit more infield. Keep it in the field of play now. O'Connor goes back across. Stewart gives it off to Patai, who's a long way off his wing, and instead, I believe that's actually a prop out on his wing, or in fact, it's number 2, Matt Faisler, who was out there wide. Now McDermott goes back across once again for Yalfachawaker, gives it off to Stewart. It's an advantage to the Reds. Now O'Connor in the midfield, gives it off to, it was Josh Fluke, and they're going back for the initial penalty. Now they are just showing the 7 schedule. There is actually 7s next week in London, and then also today we have got some happening in Toulouse, and then the 27th to 28th of August will be in Los Angeles for that one taking place. And also, hey guys, says Obi as well. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Is that different profile picture? Is this your old account, Obi, rather than Obi Snake? Maybe, if I'm not wrong. Now, currently looking for the touchline. It will be James O'Connor. So they've decided they also don't want just 3-pointers. They would rather be able to turn it into 5 and 7s throughout this match. But it's a good strike of the ball from James O'Connor. Does manage to find the touchline. And that will now be about 20 metres out from the line here. And the Reds, with Matt Faisler, will have to try and make sure that they get this one right. Takes his time trying to line it up. It's going to be taken nicely by Ryan Smith. Breaking off the back, Mick Wright gives it off to Harry Wilson. He tried to pop it back up, and it's going to be stolen by Moana Pacifica. Same account. And this is Obi as well. Do you normally have Obi Snake? Or is it just Obi normally? And where does Obi Snake come from? Why am I thinking of Obi Snake? At this stage now, it is going to be kicked in a touch. Nicely done by Moana Pacifica. 25 metres out from the line now, and it will be the Reds who have got themselves a line out. But I do see in Toulouse, it's 27 degrees Celsius. Which is pretty hot. And also, I reckon we should have an idea of who will be in the quarterfinals by the last game of this weekend. There's Novmum. And yeah, I think the big question is who is going to be, I guess, we almost know the home finals at this point in time. But it's the question of who is going to have kind of who for the quarterfinal opponents. That's going to be a loose ball. It's not taken nicely. And now the Reds, Siru Uru does the step, offloads it back to Geordie Pataya. Now off to Campbell. Doesn't need the pass on the outside. It's going to be the try. And Jock Campbell goes in for the first try of the match for the Reds. It was my old name, but same account. And there says Obi as well, but that is going to be nicely done by the Reds. Jock Campbell able to score it. Score, Riz, there we go. That was Jock Campbell. So unfortunately, the drop ball from Moana Pacifica did lead to that loose ball being able to be available for the Reds, and they were able to get themselves over the try line. There we go. There's a big yawn. And I have learned that pretty much the way that the table sits for the 7s, or the way that the draw actually sits, there's a chance that both Fijian games for the 7s quarterfinals could be taking place at the exact same time as the classic All Blacks versus Spain game, which is going to be a little bit of a tricky one to juggle. But hopefully it does end up working out, that it doesn't end up overlapping. And as I go, Moana says Edmund there. And they were able to get themselves a nice try early on. Jock Campbell has just been able to answer back for the Reds, but they do still need to try and get this kick over of James O'Connor. It's going to be approximately the same angle as Christian Liliafano, other than the fact that he is going to be trying to curl it possibly a little bit further around for James O'Connor, or possibly less curl, as he is going to have to try and make sure that it doesn't drift too far from right to left. And it does drift just a little bit, and that will mean that the score remains at 5 points to Moana Pacifica and 5 to the Reds there, and Moana number 2. And there's his Edmund, and also we have domestic rugby over here. It would be like grassroots rugby, as we do about the 7s team. They are 5 years behind, that's my opinion. So no, I think they're not going to be there as well, says Josh. Maybe one day. It would be quite cool to have the Netherlands playing in a game for like the 7s or Union that we get to cover while you're also here. Would be quite cool. And that's the thing. Who knows? Maybe they have a couple very good years for the Netherlands, and then all of a sudden, like the next World Cup comes around, and they are absolutely raring to go. That one's going to be taken nicely by Christian Liliafano. Now passes it back across to William Arvili. Goes down the middle of the field. It's kind of a skiddy low kick that the man has done. Setting up for Jock Campbell, the try scorer of the Reds. And he kicks it downfield towards the touchline. And it does end up going out about 30 metres out from the line. But currently South Africa, they are taking on Ireland the way that it is currently sitting for the men's side of things. That is part of Pool D. And that is actually the first game of the men's sevens that we are going to see. And Ndlovu has just gone over and scored the first try of the match. Nicely done. And also we have got the Hamish. Are you doing sevens later, by the way? How's your week been? Just got back home from the gym, says Aiden. And there's well. So we are going to be doing some of the sevens. We can't do absolutely all of it due to overlaps that we have got with Super Rugby. But any game that we can cover of the sevens, we will hopefully be able to do so. So we are doing Fiji versus Kenya at 12:34 a.m. That is our first one. And then we might have a few at about 4 a.m. Oh, that's a good shot from Jordan Patai. Managed to get up out of the line. And now Harry Wilson with the counter ruck. He has been able to get it back. And now Tate McDermott goes for the kick of mine, looking for the 50-22, although I don't believe it would be one. The ball sits up. And that's the worst possible time to be yawning. But Fraser McWright ends up scoring the try. And it just sits up perfectly for him. It was the kicker behind from Tate McDermott, then just waited perfectly. And McWright back in the side has now been able to score himself the try. Very nicely done. And that is in the 14th minute. This one's going to be another high-scoring game by the looks of it. If we are lucky like we have been for the past few games of Super Rugby, there's been a huge amount of points, but it was a good kick in behind from McDermott. And also we've got the yes, whenever you can, HSBC 7 Hamish says MH Joy there. So I have got somewhere about one moment. I've got a little schedule type thing of the games that are taking place compared to the games that we can do. So I believe at this stage, the plan for tonight, this can change. It's kind of subject to change as well. But 12:34 a.m. we will be doing Fiji versus Kenya. Then at 4:06 a.m. I believe we are doing Australia versus Fiji for the women's side of things. And then after that, we have got Samoa versus Ireland at 4:50 a.m. And then I think we've also got South Africa versus Spain at 4:28. New Zealand versus USA at 5:24. And then we have got Ulster versus the Sharks, I believe, for the URC, followed by Fiji versus Wales. That is the plan. I don't know whether or not that will all be able to take place, depending on time zones and also overlaps, how tired my eyes get, all that kind of thing. But hopefully we can do a majority of those matches that I just listed. Now Fraser McWright, he will be very happy to get that one. And now they are sitting 12 points as the conversion did end up going over for the Reds. Going off short. Geez, that's big contact. We're being Tamati Tavatavanawa. I don't know how he's got up from that, but that was massive contact between the two. He's got back up to his feet, and now he's back out on the wing, ready to go. It's going to be kicked to mine once again from William Arvilio. I don't necessarily agree with that tactic at this point in time, because all they are doing is losing ground, because James O'Connor is able to outclass them a little bit for the kicking department. But now it is going to be Tamasi Alosio kicking it downfield. And the Reds won't be minding this kicking game, because now they are able to fire it back across. Jock Campbell gives it off to Suliasi Vuniavalu. He really will put in a kick, so now he is going to be running it. And the Reds have got the territory and the position back on the halfway line. Now McDermott goes short side off to Jock Campbell. Good low tackle on him. Solomoni Funaki straight in, gets a turnover as well for MOANA Pasifika. It's not the best pass from Sakopi Kipu. They have said it's gone backwards as the call there. Now Jonathan Tamatine goes for the kick in behind. There is a bit of space there, but Jordan Patai is back and is able to mark up for that one now, using those quick stepping feet that he's got. He's driven backwards in the ball spot free. It's out to Timothy Tavatavanawa now. He dragged down by Fraser McWright. Now MOANA Pasifika, they've got this ball about 15 minutes out. Annoying. They don't show the time. Like why, as well, says Novmum. Yeah, I have no idea why for this game they've decided to change it. And yes, it would be. And there it says Josh H there as well. But yeah, for some reason, they've decided to get rid of it. Luckily, our clock does have that time on it. Timothy Tavatavanawa and Ryan Smith really collided hard. So we're about 15 to 16 minutes in at this point in time. I have no idea why they've decided to go with the scoreboard in this manner, because no one knows what's going on at this point in time because of it. Okay, Jordan Patai might have to go off for an HIA, they are saying, and figure the Crusaders were just too much for the draw, especially when the visitors have been constantly rotating their lineup for obvious reasons. And there, as I said, Sammy Sosa, yeah, I was hoping that game would be a lot closer, I'll be honest. But sadly, did end up going a little bit one side. And also Benje Netherlands. And there it says it was Novmum. I assume that is Dutch, maybe. Now, Tavatava Nawai with a nice bump off the tackle of McDermott. But currently now they've got Suliasi Vunivalu at the back. And also, I think that is Jock Campbell, who is out wide, trying to stop them from being able to go through. Good run from Tamatine, who just decides to snipe once again around the side. It looks like Fraser McWright has stayed down here, which does not look too good. A couple of the MOANA Pasifika players just checking on Fraser McWright there, and also how far from the line, says Max. There is a penalty at this current point in time, but it is 40 metres out that MOANA Pasifika, I believe, have got themselves a penalty. That's going to be the try to Ireland as well, I should mention, in the 7. So that will make the score 7-all between the two sides. Okay, they're checking the clean out on Fraser McWright, which might have been why some of those big forwards were helping him up. Perhaps they did see what happened to him and tried to win a little bit. Okay, so Hamish Stewart went low. Then from there, Fraser McWright goes in. He's tipped. He's dropped on his head by Henry teammate Stowers, and unfortunately, that's going to be a yellow card at least here. He does end up grabbing the leg, and he ended up accidentally flipping him. And I think landing on his shoulder at this point, that might save him here for teammate Stowers, but I think he lands. Oh, it's reckless. Lands on his shoulder is the call still from the referee. So I believe this is going to be a yellow card for teammate Stowers. And like they're saying, it was not a smart clean out because they already had the advantage, and also the Dutchies do have potential, even if they got their way or a long way to go in rugby with grassroots development and everything. So here's Sammy Souza. So he's landed on his shoulder, then the head. So because of that, it does mean that it is going to be a yellow card against Henry teammate Stowers. Okay, still reckless as the call. Henry teammate Stowers apologises to the man that he ended up flipping. But now that will become a penalty in favour of the Reds, and that is the last thing MOANA Pasifika needed. They did need all 15 for a majority of this match to have a real chance. The lights just flickered, which is a bit concerning. I know that it's quite windy outside, so if the power does end up going out, I will probably be sitting in some darkness. And that is the other side of things for whether or not... Oh, John Batai almost tripped over the cord on the sideline. That didn't look too good for him. He's going off for an HIA now. Good night, bro. And there, as I says, Max, so we will see you later on. But currently, yeah, if the power does end up for some reason going out, oh yeah, it's that whiplash of him landing on the ground. I think that's really knocked Jordan Pataya a little bit silly at this point in time. So he gets tackled, then he gets bent over by Henry Stowers, and then he gets his head slammed. And also, oh great, heavy rain is back, says Paddy. So yeah, it doesn't seem like there's the best weather about at all in New Zealand currently. And we have got a game taking place tomorrow in FMG Stadium. That is going to be the Waikato game. And then also there is a game at Sky Stadium. So we'll have to wait and see how those two games go in terms of the way that the weather is going. But currently, 7-all in the halftime. Oh. Okay. I think... Okay. So James O'Connor hit the wire. So because of that, he is allowed to now have another kick at it. It's going to be nicely done by James O'Connor. So at the end of the day, if it hits the spider cam, you do have to retake the kick. And that is exactly what they have done. And James O'Connor, I think he got more distance on that one, mainly because it didn't change direction. I'm in that spider cam, but now taken nicely by Angus Blythe. Going to continue to try and get a rolling maul going here for the Reds. And with a one-man advantage, they should certainly be able to make the most of it. Showers, some heavy rain in the afternoon with hail possible, then clearing strong westerlies. That's my weather tomorrow, says Paddy. And also a pity that Liliafano won't be available for Samoa in the PNC. And there, but at least he'll finally play in November tours later this year for the Manu. I think Ireland are now leading up against South Africa. That is a huge one for them in Novmum. Yes, they do. But in a few years, there's Josh there as well. That's going to be a nice kick in mind from James O'Connor. Waiting for the bounce. Vunivalu would have loved it, but nicely done by William Havili. They have said he's put it down as well. So the Pacific Nations Cup, do we have dates for when those games are taking place, Simi Souza, at this point in time? Do let me know. Because I feel like I've not quite got the right times, do I? But it's next month? Next month or the month after, I think, might be when those games are taking place. But they're just checking to see whether or not, okay, you'd have to say that's taken back by William Havili. So because of that, it will now be a scrum feed for the Reds, only 5 metres out from the line. And wait a second, is it Leofano, a Wallaby? And there as well, says Carl Peterson. He is ex-Wallaby, but because he hasn't played for quite some time, I believe with the new regulations and kind of the new rulings, you can actually then swap to another team if I'm not wrong. Which I could be because I don't really know the complete rules behind it. But currently it is 20 minutes 55. They are just showing what the score is or what the time in this game is, as they haven't been showing it on the scoreboard throughout the match. But currently 5 metres out from the line, the Reds will have a good opportunity. Speaking of good opportunities, currently the Blitzboks trying to get themselves a win over the Irish, which will be a very big one for them if they are able to do so, as Ireland are playing extremely well in the last little while. It's a nice bump off there. Now going to be pushing this ball into the scrum feed. Waiting for it. It is going to be going up. And what is your prediction for the Blues versus the Brumbies? And they're pretty much that game. I'm going to say the Blues, but it could easily go the way of the Brumbies at home. But I'm just thinking from last week, the way that I went with the Crusaders, that's going to be close to the line for McDermott. As we can just pick and choose what country to play for now, says Carl. Only if you have got heritage / parent born / grandparents born from that region. But World Rugby, they recently did bring in that rule about a year ago that you can play for your kind of parents' birth country, if that makes sense. Pretty much. So now that one is going to be held up, and it is going to be the goal line dropout and 3-year stand-down period for the last time he played for the Wallabies. So, yeah, and there says Simi Souza. So, yeah, it's pretty much the case of you're not allowed to pretty much swap straight away, but you are allowed to effectively, eventually, switch. And I put both Ioannis and Red here are out, and there says Hex there as well. Okay, the time on the, or the sound on the game is gone. Is that just me, or is that like for everyone? Oh, no, they got it back now. They've worked out what they pressed. Someone pressed the mute button. Christian Leofano now is going to be putting in this kick in behind by the looks of it. It's a nice strike. Oh, no, it's not. It's going to be charged down. The Heritage do to go with it. And there says Simi Souza, and now it is going to be a drive forward here for them. So do you think that the Brumbies will be able to do it, Hex, or do you think the Blues will be able to get themselves a win? Do let me know. But now James O'Connor, nice draw and pass from the Reds. It's a crispy looking back line, but that one's gone behind. Filippo Dalgunu out on that wing. That is due to Jordan Potaya having to go off the field for the HIA. They're saying, or one of the commentators was saying he's a little bit too flat, but then the other commentator was saying that Josh Fluke does have to find him with that pass. And also at this current pace, Hamish, do you foresee this to be a high-scoring match, says MH Choi? I think so. I think we're going to see, if I had to guess, I'd say 50 points in this game. Somewhere around there. Maybe more, but maybe not at this stage. I think we're about 25 minutes through, aren't we? But Ray Nuya just getting that neck inspected currently. I'll use up a little bit more time, but 3 minutes left in the game between Ireland and South Africa. And currently, Ireland are winning that one 14 points to 12, ladies and gentlemen. So a very good start for the Irish in the sevens, although the match is far from over. Like they're saying, MOANA Pasifika, they will actually be playing on Tuesday up against the Western Force. Should be an exciting contest, and that will be at 7:05 p.m. New Zealand time, and we will be covering that game on the channel as well. So be sure, if you are new, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and also check out the Kiwi Lad Sport channel. That is our other channel where we did post our preview of the match. That's going to be another try for Ireland. They might beat South Africa here in the sevens, the way that it is going currently. But yeah, we did our preview for this match between the Reds and MOANA Pasifika, and in that preview, I did say that the Reds would win this game by 6. So I guess not a mile off currently, but there's still a long way to go in this game, only about 25 minutes through. this current point in time. But Rainuia, I had to throw this one in. They've actually had a few of their lineouts stolen. And that's another one, so it is a frustrating time for the set piece of MOANA Pasifika, but the Reds have got this one only 10 metres out from the line. Now it's going to be fired back from, it is Tate McDermott. Nice pop pass up to Harry Wilson. And just from the line now for them, it looks like Danny Tawala be caught on the wrong side of the breakdown by McDermott. Come back across to Ryan Smith. They love to get themselves another try here before Henry teammate Stowers is able to make his way back out onto the field, which must be not too far away. Nice run there from Hamish Stewart, almost able to go through. And there's going to be another penalty advantage in favour of the Reds. Ryan Smith, good attack and run, continuing to drive just a little bit closer to the line. Normally this would tell us how many phases we have had, but they do not have that stat. That looked like it could have been a knock-on. That one is going to be a knock-on, but they're going back for the initial penalty now. At the moment, I think that is the youngster Blood out there. But Ireland, I believe, should be able to win that match up against South Africa. So South Africa's still struggling just a little bit. Been watching sports since 3 a.m. this morning. I'm so tired. And then, did you post a Blues Brumbies preview? Don't think I've seen a notification, CCX. Not yet. I believe it will be coming out probably tomorrow at around maybe 3 p.m. That's over the line. And Hooper has been able to score the try. But yeah, somewhere around 3 p.m. I think will be when that one comes out. If we do end up releasing it around that time. If not, it will probably be a 9 p.m. one on the main channel. Possibly. But I have no idea who to give that game to, because I know that either way I say it, it's probably going to be wrong. So I haven't decided on a score margin yet. The score margin's the hardest part. I haven't done too badly in terms of picking a team who's going to win, but it's more getting it right with the score margin that I have been struggling with. But that is another try for the Reds here. And that now gives them a nice, comfortable lead of a little bit more. But MOANA Pasifika, they're going to have to fire back relatively soon if they want a chance. And also Pacific Rugby is scheduled for the 2nd to the 16th of July this year, according to recent news, most of it held in Fiji. Says Sammy Souza. Is there any chance, Sammy Souza, that they have announced dates of those games? Out of curiosity, in terms of, like, I guess, scheduled times? Or is it just that they've said that that's the window that it will be taking place in? Because I would be very keen to cover those games, and also so much sport this weekend. NBA, URC, Premier League, great weekend indeed. Says Carl. And yeah, alongside that, we've got the Sevens. You've got the Gallagher Premiership, Super Rugby. My voice is going to be gone by the end of this weekend. I can guarantee you that. And then we've got a game on Tuesday that we will have to try and refire up the vocal cords for. So hopefully that goes all smoothly. And then the best thing is next week we get to do the same thing. The game between South Africa and Ireland is now over, and Ireland have been able to win it 21 points to 12. So they will get themselves their first win of the Toulouse Sevens, and it's up against the defending champs, South Africa, or the team in number 1, I should mention as well. But now it is going to be a big opportunity for Christian Lealiafano to try and get a side back into this game. They kick off long. It's going to work out. Uru with the knock-on, and it's the advantage now. Jonathan Tamatine shut down by Harry Wilson pretty quickly. Samuel Slade now off into the hands of Tui Palotu. Little kick him behind from Danny Tawala was attempted, but they will be going back for the initial scrum penalty, or the scrum feed, sorry, for MOANA Pasifika. But the way that it is sitting currently, I was about to say the way again, but the way that it is sitting currently, the table is getting closer and closer. The Reds would love this win to be able to keep themselves near that top 4 and get a home quarter final. If not, they may end up dropping just a little bit further, and they could find themselves playing up against the Blues, the Reds, the Chiefs even, could be their opposition in the near future. But we will have to wait and see exactly how it ends up going. There is one more week left, and the Reds, they have to take on the Blues next week, which is not going to be an easy game to finish out their Super Rugby regular season for getting into the quarterfinals. It is fed in now for Jonathan Tamatine, still in the first half, about 30 minutes through now. It's a penalty to MOANA Pasifika. And if they play like they did in the early stages, I think they will end up going for the corner. But Jordan Petaia making his way back out onto the park now. He was able to pass his HIA. That was quite long. Oh, no, actually, is he coming out? I don't know. It looks like he is going to be coming back out onto the field now, Jordan Petaia. And also, Hamish, can you show the fixtures for the URC at halftime? Says Carl, I certainly can. I haven't got a little animation showing them, but I can read them out to you, Carl, including the game a little bit later on tonight. The Sharks taking on Ulster, which should be an awesome one. And also, how badly do you think the Ioane brothers and Tom will be missed this game? It's going to be a lot in that loose forward trio plus one of the locks, isn't it? Because you've got Sam Derry starting at 5, Anton Stegner at 6. I think they'll still do all right, but up against the Brumbies side, it is going to be tough for them, but I think they should still be able to do all right. They've got Bryce Heem at number 13. I've liked what he's doing this year. So Rieko Ioane, as big of a hit as he is, I don't think it will be a massive one for them. And love catching these streams on the weekends. How's the week been, man? Says Justin. It's been very good. It's been busy. We have had plenty on, but I guess that's the thing. Even though the weeks are busy, as soon as you get to the weekend, you're just in full-on rugby mode. Like, eat, sleep, repeat, rugby. That's what you do. Christian Laliafano does kick that one over, and it does now make the score 10 points to Moana Pasifika and 9 to the Reds. A little bit surprising that they did decide to go for the 3 points, but I think that's because of the line-out not quite working out for them. And also, we've got their Sharks must lose that game so the Stormers can get a home quarter-final game. And also, thankfully, Heem is there. CSX, yeah, he's been looking very impressive in recent times, so they should be all right. I'm more worried if Rieko Ioane is going to be back, not just for the finals, but also for the All Blacks season, depending on how serious that injury is. We've already seen Cody Taylor out with injury, Brody Retallick, another player who won't be able to play for the All Blacks. That's going to be nicely done by Jordan Patai. Great tackle to make when you've just made your way back out onto the field. There's my order of the finals: Blues, Crusaders, Brumbies, Chiefs, Hurricanes, Reds, Waratahs, Highlanders. And there's what it says, Novmum. That would mean that the Rebels and the Western Force narrowly missing out by the looks of that. And also, hi, long time no see, says Jack. Welcome in, mate. I hope you are doing well. Currently now it is in the hands of the try scorer, Jock Campbell, trying to go through, but Tamatine able to drag him down nicely. And back across to Hooper, who has already been able to score himself a try in the earlier stages of this match. So quite a few try scorers for the Reds. They've been able to get the 3, but Hamish Stewart now goes off to James O'Connor looking for the touchline and does end up finding it as well. And like they're saying, the defensive line out from this side in red or maroon, I guess you call it, they have been looking very impressive. I thought you said Rieko was able to come back during the final CCX. It's my first initial reaction to it, but I'm not too sure whether or not. I think in that video it was hopefully he will be back for the finals because he's got a hamstring, which is normally one that if it's just a pulled muscle, hopefully he can come back in a couple of weeks. But if it does get dragged out a little bit longer, then he might not be back for maybe around, like, worst comes to worst, he's looking at probably 6 months, but that shouldn't be the case. I think it's only a month or 2 at worst for him. And also, you mean knockout stage, there's MH Joy there for the of the finals, or the quarterfinals, I guess is the way that it can also be described as. Currently, William Avili, nice kick downfield from him. They still don't have a clock on the board, which is very annoying because it's just got first half. Luckily, we have got a clock on our board. And I was like, yes, says Novmum there as well. But currently now it will be Matt Faisler about to throw this ball in for the line out, 45 metres out from the Moana Pasifika line. Going to the back, it's gone right over the top, and it's taken nicely by Hamish Stewart. And also, if he's out, he will be missed because he's been in quite the form as well, CCX. And yeah, the last thing they want is for him to be missing for those finals games. I think the great news for them is they've got that much depth that, like, I want to say it won't matter hugely, but it will still matter quite a bit, if that makes sense. But they've still got, like, Heem, Tanielu Talia, and all those other guys who can slot into that midfield role if they need to. Now Tate McDermott goes on the short side trying to snipe around the breakdown. Nice tackle from William Avili. Now Geordie Pattaya goes back up to the hands of Harry Wilson. Bounces out of one tackle, is tackled by Ray Noya. Sia Khaleesi signed an extension. Thoughts? I say it's a bad decision. And there as well, says Carl. So is that to the, I assume to the Sharks he signed an extended one. Would you have had him back at the Stormers, Carl, if he was offering? I'm predicting the Blues vs Crusaders final with the Blues to win. Says Novmum there as well. Now it's going to be Jock Campbell goes out. It's a good bit of hands. 5-year extension. Geez, that's a long time. Definitely in rugby terms, because how old is Sia Khaleesi as we currently sit? He must be close to 30, if I'm not wrong. But now Harry Wilson going to be dragged down nicely. It's a penalty to Moana Pasifika, though, in front of the ball carrier. Also, we have got there, still can't believe he was in his 30s. He doesn't look it, does he? Like, if someone said to me, he's 26, I'd be like, oh, yeah. Whereas if someone said to me he's in his 30s, I'd probably be like, is he, though? And I was like, well, 50 points. Here's MH Choi as well, and also we have got there well. So far, they've announced the teams or the times for 2nd of July, at least for the Papa or the Pacific Nations Cup games in Suva for Aussie A, Samoa at 1 p.m. and Fiji Tonga at 3:30 p.m. And so I'll certainly have to give those ones a look on the 2nd of July. They should be very exciting. 2nd of July, that must be a Saturday, I want to say. I'll just have a quick look. 2nd of July, it's actually, oh no, I'm in June. Never mind. 2nd of July, it is a Tuesday. Okay, so midweek game taking place. Interesting. Well, they won it also, and that's local time Fiji. And he's too much money, and there is better players than him. I don't rate him good. And there says Carl, but now it is going to be in the hands of the Reds. Once again, they have had a majority of the possession since about the 2nd or 3rd minute of that yellow card. They've just been able to turn it all around. Felipe Dalgunu, or in fact, it was Suliasi Vuniwalu who does have the juggle there. So local time in Fiji, I think, is a little bit different to ours, isn't it? But only just. That is another try by the looks of it for Steve Oni's side. So currently Samoa leading 14-0 up against Spain. So a very nice start to the match for Samoa. Suliasi Vunivalu, unfortunately for him, it just ended up avoiding his hands. Wasn't quite able to get onto it. We haven't seen too much from Timothy Tavatavanawai other than about one run throughout the early stages. There's a good question, which is, would you rather yawn or would you rather sneeze all the time? I feel like I would rather be yawning than sneezing. That's a try back for Spain, but currently we are 35 minutes through this first half. For some reason, someone thought it would be a great idea to not have a clock other than on the local scoreboard, but the Wallabies versus England starts in July. That will be a very exciting series. Get to see exactly what way those matches end up going. New Zealand, they will have Ireland. Australia, they will have England. France, I believe they are heading to somewhere else in the Northern Hemisphere. And then South Africa, they are going to have Wales in the upcoming matches. Shadow Hamilton, as well, says Tame, but now it is going to be in the hands of Tavatavanawai. As I just mentioned, he hadn't had any real chance with the ball too often throughout that first half. He does get a carry now. Ray Nuia goes on the outside in the hands of, it was Sayani Toipalotu, goes into touch. Not a lot of space next to there. And I think it was the cameraman who got a little bit nervous near the end of that one. But Danny Tawala, was a big shot on him by Hamish Stewart. And then Danny Tawala. Ooh. Okay, so it was a good shot from Josh Fluke. A little bit high from Hamish Stewart, maybe creeping up a bit, but the first initial contact was good. That's going to go in. Nicely taken by the Reds. And Ryan Smith now pops it off the back to Fraser McWright, cutting back on the inside. Will be Matt Fazer, and also Sharks making moves, but losing quality players like Sibu Nkosi. And now Samoa is an underrated team. Samoa can be lethal when in form. That is exactly right. They are in the next World Cup. And in the sevens currently, they are winning their game up against Spain. Doing very nicely indeed. Nice chip and chase from James O'Connor. It's taken nicely by Danny Tawala, though. And it will be going back for the initial penalty. I think there was a Pilo Maliko just trying to make his way down the wing. And I think Samoa are going to be able to score themselves another try here with a perfect kick in behind. They put it down, Samoa. And Purcell was able to score that one for anyone who is curious about the sevens. But New Zealand sevens, I believe their next game or their first game is actually coming up relatively soon for the sevens department. Yeah, massive upset. Seeing South Africa lose that first game up against Ireland. But then the other side of things, see, Khaleesi is 31, by the way. Okay, so they've locked him until he's 36 or so, which I guess is very bold. Definitely because if he does end up having any sort of injury or anything, then maybe it does shorten his tenure a little bit more. But currently 9 points difference between these two sides, the Reds and MOANA Pasifika at Suncorp Stadium. They have now got themselves a 15-metre line out here for the Reds. Try and get themselves one last opportunity before halftime, I believe, anyway. And it's very hard to tell whether or not we are almost at halftime. I believe we're in the 35 to 40-minute range. Now it's going to be nicely done by Hamish Stewart with the crash ball now. Going back across, it's going to be the advantage that is unlucky against MOANA Pasifika. I thought both of those players did pretty well to get themselves out of that breakdown. Now James O'Connor goes for the grubber behind. It's going to set up for Jock Campbell, and he gets it down, and it's a try. And Jock Campbell gets his second of the match. And that is going to be brilliantly done by James O'Connor. In the 38th minute, Jock Campbell does manage to get himself another try. And you have to wonder whether or not MOANA Pasifika are wondering whether that option of taking the three earlier on was the right choice. And yeah, a nice retirement package And there's us, says Carl Peterson. But it sits up for Jock Campbell. Does manage to get his hands down on the ball. And it is a good kick in behind from James O'Connor. 38 minutes. I got the time on the TAB. And there says Novmum. But yeah, it's so weird that they haven't got the clock other than at Suncorp on the big screen. You can see it. But that is pretty much it. That is the only time that they have really shown it throughout this matchup. Not even when people are scoring, they haven't had like the little timer next to it as well. But currently New Zealand plays Scotland in 11 minutes time, ladies and gentlemen, for the sevens. And then also Australia, they will be taking on the USA. And that will be at 11:06. Then the next game that we are covering on the channel, I believe, will be the Fiji Sevens taking on the Kenya Sevens. And that is kicking off at 12:34 a.m. New Zealand time. And then after that, I think we've got quite a wee break before we get to the next game that we are covering, which is about 4:20, 4:30-ish, I believe will be the next match. And many Moana players are old. Most of them are in their late 20s, early 30s. And as I said, Joseph, that one is going to be just missing away to the side. So the score will remain 24 points to 10. And they will have one last opportunity to go for something for getting to halftime. But Solomon Ikate, he's been pretty quiet in the midfield. He did try and stop the man from running through there, Jock Campbell. But he just wasn't quite able to get enough on him. And MOANA Pasifika have been having the same issues as they draw with depth and consistency. So here's Sammy Sizer. And that is very true because they have got another game that has taken place in only about, I'm going to get the exact hours because or else I will probably get it wrong. But they've got a game on Tuesday, which has taken place. So that is in 3 days, 20 minutes. Or sorry, 3 days, 20 hours. That will be their next game that they do have to play up against the Western Force. And then after that, they only get about 3 days off. And then they're back into play up against the Brumbies, which is going to be a tough game for them. So you have to feel for them a little bit when it comes to that schedule that they have got because it's all out and out pace pretty much throughout the whole season. So hopefully, they do learn from it. They get to work out what combos work for them. And then from there, they are able to keep on improving. And also, URC fixture same as says Carl. I have got them up here on my phone as well. So the one that is happening tonight, it is going to be Benetton and Cardiff. They are playing it is 5 a.m. Then Ulster are playing the Sharks at 6:35 a.m. And then the Ospreys are taking on the Bulls at 7:10 a.m. So that is the last game of today. Then on Sunday, it is Dragons taking on the Lions, Connacht versus Zebre, Scarlets versus Stormers, Edinburgh versus Glasgow, and then Leinster versus Munster. They are all the ones that we have got coming up. Very challenging when you have a small pool of players. So here's MH Joy as well. Yeah, definitely with the fact that they've missed about 3 or 4 games, MOANA Pasifika, which they've then had to make up midweek. So the body can only take contact so much until it starts to wear down and get a little bit slower. And also MOANA Pasifika must have been hammered from those short turnarounds, courtesy of that Wuhan flu. And as I said, Sammy Souza, yeah, so that's the thing. They would have had to continue making about 5 or 6 changes at least per game. And then injuries playing a factor. I'm glad to see Sakopi Kepu's back because he was actually injured for a couple of weeks at one point. But now that he is back, it is very good news for them as well. But currently in the sevens, it is sitting at 5 minutes left in the game, and it is 21 points to 5 in Samoa. It looks like they are about to score themselves another try possibly, and also Leinster versus Munster, good game. As I says, Carl, it certainly is, and it actually overlaps with the game that has taken place between the classic All Blacks and Spain. So anyone who doesn't know who's playing in that game, the likes of Conrad Smith, Stephen Donald, Rico Gear, Jose Gear, Jerome Kano, and a whole heap of those ex-guys. Who else we got? Corey Flynn, Luke McAllister, also Nathan Harris. A little bit more recently, you guys will know him from the Chiefs. Corey Flynn, classic name for the All Blacks. So it is going to be interesting to see who those last team names are that get added on there. And we will have to wait and see exactly who ends up winning that game. But that is kicking off at about 6:35 a.m., roughly the same time as Leinster versus Munster. So that's going to be a huge decision. Try and decide what way of the equation we go for that one. Currently, there's an ad for chips and beer at the moment. And I wouldn't mind some chips, to be honest, at this point in time. I think that is what I'm going to have for tea. And also, thanks, Hamish Cisco. No worries at all, mate. Any other fixtures you do want to know, do let me know, and I can find them for you. I know that Leinster have got themselves a 6-point lead at the top of the table, whereas the Stormers and the Sharks are both sitting on 56 points, with Ulster sitting on 55. So if Ulster win their game up against the Sharks, they will actually secure themselves a home final, which will be pretty massive for them, and that will be one less game taking place and South Africa. Then for the Stormers, who are the Stormers playing? Did I just say the Stormers? They have got their game up against the Scarlets, but Edinburgh play Glasgow. So the only side that can actually, no matter what, we've got one home final in South Africa for the quarterfinals. And then Ulster might have a chance of overtaking the Stormers. And then we will have to wait and see how it ends up going from there. It looks like one of the Spanish players is injured currently in the sevens between Samoa and Spain. Currently 28 points to 5 in favour of Samoa. Though it looks like Spain might be able to find themselves a try very soon. It's some good running. And he is going to be able to go over. Tiago Romero has been able to get it also New Zealand Warriors to win the premiership. And there, as I said, Joseph, and also I bet Spain will take it considering the Classic All Blacks, or take it against the Classic All Blacks as consolation for their dodgy federation not taking eligibility rules seriously, costing them a spot in 2023 just north of the border. And there, as I said, Sammy Souza. But yeah, it's a big shame that they have had, I guess, their spot taken from them. But then that's the thing, rules are rules, and you can't break rules because they do have, I mean, the fact that they've done it twice, isn't it, Spain? Their second time doing it does make it pretty harsh on them. And you'd think that they would have learnt from the first time that it did happen as well. But currently now Samoa, they've been looking very good throughout their first match. Someone's boot was missing at that point in time, but he was able to still get himself over the try line. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. We are better. Hay fever is still kicking me, but not as bad this weekend. Fingers crossed, touch wood, because last time I said that, it got really bad on the Saturday. And I will also mention, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, Alapiro Malika already knew he was making it to the try line there, although I think he's going to get caught. No, he doesn't. He does manage to make it in the end. Alapiro Malika has scored another one for Samoa in their match. But what I was saying is, for the first time on the channel's history, we are going to have simultaneous live streams going at the same time. We are going to do the Brumbies versus the Blues, but we are also going to be covering Samoa versus South Africa in the sevens. And you may ask, how can we do that? You're only one person. And the way that we can do it is I've brought him back up for that live stream. Pretty much, I will be doing the first 30 minutes of Brumbies versus Blues solo. Then from there, it will be swapping over to some coverage that we have got lined up with a couple other commentators that are going to be doing a bit of the commentary for that 20 minutes that I'm away doing the sevens, and then I will be coming back for the final 30 minutes of that matchup as well. So that is the plan. Hopefully it runs smoothly. Still funny that Severies botched that try against the Drua, and there says Sammy Souza. Currently now, I mean, that's the thing. The Crusaders, they probably, I know a lot of people said that they'd win by maybe 30 or so, but 58, was it? 58 that they won by? That was quite a large margin for them in there, that is for sure. And they will be looking to continue that winning momentum into their game next week that the Crusaders have got for themselves. And I will just tell you guys all of the rugby fixtures for next week, as one of the big ones is going to be the Reds taking on the Blues, which should be a very exciting contest. But round 15 will involve the Crusaders taking on the Reds. I've got that round the wrong way, haven't I? I thought that the Blues... Oh, no, the Reds and the Blues have already played, haven't they? Never mind. So the Crusaders are going to be taking on the Reds. Fiji and Drua versus the Chiefs. Moana Pasifika versus the Brumbies. Waratahs versus Blues. Western Force versus Hurricanes. And then Rebels taking on the Highlanders. So there's actually only one game happening on Friday night, which is kind of cool because it does mean that we might have more opportunity to be able to cover a bit more of the sevens, although it does mean that on the Sunday, Western Force and Hurricanes might overlap with some of the other sevens that is going to be taking place on the channel as well. But we're hoping to be able to cover as much as we physically can over the weekend with everything that is happening in the world of sport, because there is a lot of rugby, that is for sure. Currently now Spain, they're looking to try and close out this game with maybe one more point on the board or so. One more try, in fact, I should say. The Reds in this game, as we sit, 24 points to 10. It's a nice 14-point lead in Moana Pasifika. They did score the first try of the match. They're going to need something big in the second half, including that very first try, to be able to have a good chance of going through and winning this game. It's not going to be easy, though. The Reds at home, when you give them a lead, normally they are able to hang on. It is just impossible to tell, really, who will be able to win most of the games. I mean, we saw that game between the Chiefs and the Rebels last week. That one was an absolutely insane game for the Sunday afternoon, and it just kept on delivering after delivering, and also just win. West Tigers beat Bulldogs tonight 36-22. Manly leading Eels 12-10 in the NRL, Scotland to New Zealand in the next game, and Australia to beat USA and win this weekend 7, says Craig. So that is a big prediction, but could be onto the money there. I know that South Africa are struggling currently, although Samoa look like they might be able to be top contenders. They are going to beat the Spanish. They are going to beat them by 35, or in fact 42 points to 12. Those seven teams are really loving the favourable time zone with Europe, but still got that southern flair, says Sammy Souza in there as well. I think the only one who's not enjoying the time zones are the ones of us from New Zealand watching the games, just because it's always a real early morning start, but I've been loving it. We have been able to see quite a bit of URC on the channel, and we are hoping to cover that game between the Sharks and also Ulster a little bit later on tonight. That will be happening in approximately, I'm just going to get you how many hours for when that game is taking place. It's not too far away, though. I think it's going to be about 7 hours, 52 minutes till that game has taken place. So we will have to wait and see exactly how it does end up going for that one. But before then, I should mention we've got quite a few other games that we are going to be covering on the channel. For the 7 side of things, we are going to be covering Fiji versus Kenya taking place at 12:34. And then after that, the next game that we are doing, I believe, is going to be, I think it's either USA versus South Africa for the women's side of things, or the women's game between Australia and Fiji, which will be around 3:45 or 4 a.m. for that matchup. Then we might be doing South Africa versus Spain, Samoa versus Ireland. That should be a good matchup. And then New Zealand versus USA, followed by next person to talk gets timeout. And there says Paddy. Wait, is it next person to talk? Does that mean it's you, Paddy? And also we have got the 7 hours, 52 minutes and Brumbies to beat the Blues by 30. And there says Craig as well. And then the last game that we will be covering of the day, it will be the URC Ulster versus Sharks. And then the last 7th game that we are going to be covering for the day, I believe, will be the match between Fiji and Wales. And that will be starting at about 8:33 a.m. That is if the voice is still going and we have still got plenty of energy left in the gas tank. And yes, Fiji versus Kenya. And there says MH Joy. And there as well. And also we have got, MH Joy, although MH Joy was not the next one to talk, Paddy, for that one. So it's an interesting one, I guess you could say. But currently now we are just waiting for the second half to get back underway. And also, how can I be next when I said it as well, says Paddy? Well, because it's like next person to talk gets timeout. That chunk, the timeout chunk. And there as well. We are just about to be underway for the second half, I'd like to think, in the near future, because they do have a long halftime break. But this next game in the 7s, it is going to be New Zealand taking on Scotland. So hopefully the Kiwis are able to get themselves a nice win there. But anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also check out the Kiwi Lad Sport channel. It is our other channel. We did a preview for this match where we did say that the Reds would end up winning it by 6. So whether or not we are correct for that one, we will have to wait and see. But if you haven't already, be sure to check that channel out as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We are getting very close as well. We are only 134 away. So if you do want to help us out, be sure to do so. And also don't make me come to your house. And there as well, says Betty. And also, there you go, Reds go, says Reed. So we have got a bit of an even split between MOANA Pasifika and also, I guess, the other side of things is the Reds, the home side. They should have more of the fans at the ground, I believe. Although MOANA Pasifika, they seem to have some very nice touring fans for themselves. Currently, we will go like this. New Zealand are playing Scotland currently. And the Sevens are also watching New Zealand 7, says no mum. So I'm watching it out of the corner of my eye as well, because this is a long halftime break in this matchup. So it's quite convenient for us to be able to see some of the Kiwis. That's brilliantly done by Leroy Carter, although they've said that his foot was in touch. I don't think he quite believes that his foot was in touch there, Leroy Carter, by the looks of it. But the teams, they are still in the changing rooms, about to make their way back out onto the park. Filippo Dalgunu, he was out there for a little bit of time. What's your overall thoughts on Fiji Dryer getting smacked by the Crusaders? And there's Ryan. It was a lot more one-sided than I expected, but that's the thing. The Crusaders are peaking at the right time of the competition, so that is definitely benefiting them at this current point in time. And the Fijian drawer, no Vinaya Habosi was a big one that I was expecting to see. Also, no Onisi Ratave, which was another interesting one. But Taniela Tupou currently, he is wearing a suit. He's eating fruit. And also, he looks like he's dyed his hair, Taniela Tupou. Wearing a suit as well. So he is a very happy man by the looks of it. Also, even with the Sabatines enjoying the time zone, there's still that coulda, woulda, shoulda moment on if they want to go back to Super Rugby. But some fans, despite Super Rugby, South Africa Rugby Union themselves saying otherwise in there, says Sammy Souza. Yeah, I think it is just that kind of wanting to test yourself against everyone around the world. That was not too straight. Scotland have been able to get their ball back now for the Kiwis. I'm looking forward to seeing Edmund in action again. Or Jordan Edmund, I think it is. Edmund, I think it is, maybe. Because he is a very impressive player, although he's just lost the ball. And that means that the Kiwis have almost been able to go in and get themselves a try, though now it's a knock-on, but the two sides making their way back out onto the field with Thunderstruck playing. But ACDC as the sides make their way out onto the field. That is how to fire up a side for a second half of rugby. Moana Pasifika, they got themselves their first try of the half, the first try of the match as well with Solomoni Funaki, but that is the lone try that they have been able to get for themselves here. And they do need a few more to be able to get themselves in the lead. These Sevens teams are in to lose if they don't win, says Paddy as well. They are indeed in to lose, the region of France, that the matches are taking place. I'm looking forward to seeing the time zone side of things for London, because I assume it's very similar. And then LA will have a completely different time zone, but I think LA will benefit us a little bit more in terms of sleep patterns and whatnot for myself. But yeah, this weekend, I think I'm going to get like 5 to 6 hours sleep per night. And then I'll just be sleeping flat out on Monday night, right through to the start of the game on Tuesday between the Western Force and also Moana Pasifika. I think that is the plan. Then I'll probably go back to sleep for another day or so and just try and make up all of the sleep that I was missing out on for the weekend. But there was a little bit of a chuckle there from Fraser McWright. We're ready to go now. Edmonds and Leroy Carter having a bit of a push and a shove there by the looks of it, but neither man wanted to throw a punch, so instead it was just kind of a battle of the necks they were trying to do so, and also pretty much a real learning experience. Like that game with the Canes, why depth and consistency are very important for the draw. Definitely worth the masterclass they got from the Satyrs. So here's Sammy Souza, but currently Moana Pasifika have got this ball inside of their own 22. Ray Nuia. It's already a penalty advantage against the Reds, and it only took about 30 seconds before they did end up getting themselves penalised for that second half. And that's very similar to how it started for the first half as well. Okay, it looks like they're arguing for the refereeing side of the sevens of whether or not there's going to be a yellow card for one of the players. I think Jordan Edmund might have put in a headbutt, but Leroy Carter also might have misbehaved. Okay. So Leroy Carter, he is going to be going to the bin. And I don't think Edmund is going to be going to the bin as well. Oh, it was a bit of a tip tackle, so I think that's what might have caused it initially. But now it's a loose ball, and it's another penalty in favour of Moana Pasifika. This is literally a repeat of what we saw in that first half between the sides. And Suru not too happy. They've taken the quick tap there for Moana Pasifika. Now Christian Liliafano wide, slinging pass out to Tava Nawai. Now James O'Connor has to try and make the tackle. He's done very well to be able to make it as soon as he did. Now Jonathan Tamatine goes back across to Christian Liliafano off to Samuel Slade. Nice tackle on him. And it looks like it is still going to be on the side of Moana Pasifika. So they've had all the possession once again. Now Danny Tawala goes for the little chip in behind. It's going to be taken nicely by Tate McDermott, though. He does find the offload. He's going to be dropped there on his back. Now Jordan Batai, some nice stepping feet there. He's gone for the chip in behind it. It's going to be bouncing up for Fraser McWright. It's a knock-on advantage. Now William Arvili. It was probably the time to use the back line for Moana Pasifika. Now they're trying to do it, and it's not going to work out. Harry Wilson's got it back, but they're going back for the initial penalty advantage. Yeah, I think William Arvili needed to use that back line as soon as he got that ball, as they did still have Tava Nawai out on the wing. Would have been a very useful man to have The pass in behind, but Dave McDermott, he got picked up and dropped by Solomon Cutter. It kind of looked like Chris Jericho setting up for the walls of Jericho there, having each leg kind of to his side. Or as it's called, the Boston Crab, for anyone who knows what that is. I don't know how many people will know what that is now that I think about it, but it's called a Boston Crab. It's quite hard on the spine as well, if it does happen to you. Currently now it is going to be Henry Teammate Stowers off the back of the scrum perhaps. Could be the option here for Moana Pasifika, but we are still in the early stages of the second half. 14 points down for themselves here, and that is going to be another scrum reset here. Pre-engage on the far side. There's a call for that one. Currently New Zealand versus Scotland. It is still 0-0, although it looks like McGarvey Black is trying to change that for his side. And Scotland, they have been able to get that turnover. It's going to be, it's going to be the penalty against Scotland and now a yellow card for the Scottish as well. So there's quite a few yellow cards going in this matchup by the looks of it. And also, yes, Hamish, I know what you're talking about. Says Carl Peterson there as well. That is good. Yeah, I realised halfway through saying it that I was just saying, like, to anyone who just follows rugby, I was saying a whole heap of random words and sentences that would have made no sense at all. But it is good to know that you did get it, Carl. Well, that one nice pass off to Solomon Kata. He's actually held by one of the strings on the back of his pants. That one now, it is going to be a good tackle from Suliasi Vunivalu on Christian Leliafano. Currently, I'm just making sure I know what time it is throughout this game. We are currently sitting in the second half, about 45 minutes through. It's a good run forward from Rain Nui. A nice spin, hurry up and score New Zealand. And there says Novmum. Now it's going back across. Tomasi Alosio, a long way off his wing. Does get fended by his teammate Solomon Kata. Now going back across, Tamatene gives it off. And that is actually Michael Curry who gets a carry. That is a rare carry for him throughout this fixture. William Havili tried to snipe around the side. Didn't work out for him now. Henry Stowers trying to break through the tackle off Dave McDermott. Fraser McRae was told to get out of it. He did not get out of it. So now it's going to be the advantage in favour of Moana Pasifika. Christian Leliafano. It goes into touch and they're going back. And it's like that hay fever had got you rambling, Hamish, says Sammy Souza. Yeah, I do talk very fast. I guess at the best of times, really. But I've realised when I'm tired as well, I talk about 10 times faster. Well, not 10, because 10 times faster would be like pretty much unrealistic words. You wouldn't be able to understand a single word that comes out of my mouth. But I do talk a lot quicker when I'm tired. And I feel like you're going to hear a lot of quick talking throughout this weekend with the amount of rugby union and sevens that we have got coming up on the channel. But currently in the second half, William Havili will be kicking this one for the touchline here for Moana Pasifika. Strikes it nice. Oh, it's curling though. Oh, that's not well done from Suliasi Vunivalu. Unfortunately, a mix-up there, and it could have actually stopped the ball from going into touch if they did kind of call early enough for it. Like they're saying, he got his draw string there for the shorts. But now Moana Pasifika only 10 metres out from the line. 0-0 between New Zealand and Scotland as we currently sit, ladies and gentlemen. Now throwing that ball in, nicely taken. And it is going to be the rolling ball for Moana Pasifika. They're going backwards at this current point in time. They've been told to use it once. I believe they will be told to use it again very soon, although it's starting to make a couple meters here for Moana Pasifika. Now they have been told to use it. It's going off the back. There's a nice spin from, I believe it was the captain, Sakopi Kepu, leg drive from Sione Tuipulotu. And I believe he has been able to go in. And well, that was a bit anticlimactic. And there, as I says, no, yeah, 0-0 in the first half. Hey, Jerome Kano is over there at the moment. And I assume that is because he is going to be heading to France. Or sorry, not France, but he will be heading somewhere not too far away. And that will be the Spain versus All Blacks matchup that has taken place. That is the second try. Tui Pulotu. Tuipulotu? Is that how you spell it? I think I've got that slightly wrong. Pulotu. Okay, it's got one of those, a little hyphen in there. There we go. That is how he spells it, Tuipulotu. And that is going to be the try in the 47th minute of this game now. Nicely done by Moana Pasifika. And once again, they are the side that do score first, but they do need to score often if they do want a chance of being, I'll go, let's go, Hamish, you got this, as well, says Nathan. And there, yeah, it did take me a little while, but I got there in the end for Sione Tuipulotu. That's the thing. I'm used to writing Patrick Tuipulotu, but because he hasn't been playing in New Zealand this year, that has been the part that's really thrown me off the spelling. But New Zealand, they are 0-0 currently versus Scotland after the first 7 minutes of that matchup. Christian Liliafano lines it up. It's curling too much. Oh, hits the post and comes back out to him. That will now make the score 24 points to 15 in favour of the Reds. So nicely done from Sione Tuipulotu. Just uses that momentum, goes through the tackle of Fraser McRae, and the Big Blues forwards are really showing what they can do. Reds to win, says Oldie. And there's, oh yeah, currently they've got a nice lead. I think Scotland are about to score a try. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, they have just said that it's taken them about, how long is that? It's taken them 47 minutes to realise that the match clock is not working, and they have just said that they apologise about not having a match clock. I mean, I think we noticed in the first kind of 30 seconds, didn't we? That was a bit weird not seeing it. And I guess it just shows you how much you rely on a clock to know, like, when the game is taking place, and also, like, how far through halves and everything. It looks like the Reds want to take on the 3 points here by the looks of it. And like they're saying, the Reds, they need a win. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not they are able to do so and get themselves one. One moment. We will go like this and like this. I'm just checking the odds, the way that it's sitting. Here we go. And also, hi, says Amelia. Welcome in. Hope you are excited for the Rebels game tomorrow up against the Hurricanes. Should be a very interesting one. But James O'Connor, 49 minutes into this game now, it looks like they will be able to add another 3 points on. They'll make the score 27 points to 15, so still only 2 converted tries away. We have to wait and see how it does end up going for them. But that one has gone over. Good kick from James O'Connor, who's been pretty good today with the kicking department. And anyone who was wondering about that sevens game between New Zealand and Scotland, still sitting 0-0 between the two sides. Now, James O'Connor, ready to go. Yeah, not confident though, but extremely proud of the way we played last week, says Amelia. Yeah, it was very impressive up against the Rebels. Or sorry, not up against the Rebels, up against the Chiefs. I felt the Rebels deserved to win that game, which I know is a controversial one, but like, I think the Chiefs, they probably felt that way as well, that they possibly shouldn't have been able to win it. But they did get that last-minute try of Ollie Norris, which did end up saving them big time. Currently now, Moana Pasifika taking the quick line-out throw. And now it is Tomasi Alasio trying to drive his way through, but he's been dragged down in a good tackle by Matt Faisler. Zuru trying to get straight in there, unable to turn it over though. And now up to the halfway line for Moana Pasifika. William Arvelli going back across into the hands of the big man, number 4, Michael Curry. He's already scored a try throughout this season. Can he get himself another? That is a big question now. Tamatina, in fact, to Christian Liliafano, balling outside to Wala. Now linking up with Sione Tuipulotu. Currently, Moana Pasifika, they've put together some very nice phases, and that was a little bit of a cheeky pass from, it was Jonathan Tamatine decided to do with the no-look one. Now it's going to be the advantage now to Moana Pasifika. This is good for them, and they will be able to try and work their way forward just a little bit further. I think New Zealand may have just scored a try, did they? No, they did end up taking them back into their own scrum area, or their own in-goal area, I should say. Now, Solomoni Funaki around the side. Nice leg drive starting to build. And Tawa Nawai, luckily they were able to hang on to the ankle there with Ryan Smith's tackle, or else it could have been trouble for them. And up the Rebels. And as I says, Nathan taken nicely. Why it was Jordan Pataya. And now it is going to be going back for the mark, but instead they are actually going back for the initial penalty. Jordan Pataya sitting there. He's had a decent game so far. He hasn't looked too bad throughout the last little while. I'm just looking, 12 points difference as we currently sit, which means 2 converted tries for Moana Pasifika. They need to be the next side to score any sort of points, and it looks like they are going for the corner here, Moana Pasifika, so trying to take on that risk. I believe Caleb Tangitau just managed to score the first try of the match. That one, I think the ref wants to check this one, see what side it did actually end up falling on, because the referee has said that it was 5 meters out. Come on, Moana. 2 more tries than I was about time, says Novman there as well. Right, I think they said it's a 5 meter line out, which is very favourable for Moana Pasifika because it was extremely close. Could have ended up going either way for that goal. Now it's going to be taken nicely by Sione Tuipolotu. Sakopi Kepu offloads it back to teammate Stowers. Still 5 out. If Moana Pasifika can score now, it would be massive for them. It's strapped out of the hands, though, and brilliantly done by the Reds. It's a loose ball now. Tate McDermott's going to use some quick step and feed, and he's been able to make his way out from the in-goal area. Now driving up to the 22. Fraser McRoy gives it off to Geordie Pattaya, and I believe that will now be advantage over, you would think, for the knock-on, as they have moved up to the 22 now for themselves. It's a brilliant play, but that does now mean that they aren't able to kick it out on the full. But Tate McDermott doing very nicely, making a few of the bigger guys look a bit silly there. Nice ball out to Jordan Pattaya. He was in touch, though. Just ran out of space. And now it is going to be Moana Pasifika, who have got themselves a 30-metre line out. McGarvey Black currently throwing in the line out for New Zealand. They are only 7-0 up against Scotland, which is probably not a result that they would have been after in this matchup. They have been having to work extremely hard, but McDermott just uses the step and feet, then found the offload that he needed to Fraser McRoy, who got back up, went again, gave it off to Jordan Pattaya. Right, that is the second try for New Zealand in the 7th, so they are now going to be able to win that match, I would think. Now currently 53 minutes through this match, and the Reds are sitting 27 points to 15 up. Only 12 points difference in this game. I'm nervous for both sides here because Moana Pasifika, if they score now, that's going to be massive for them in terms of being able to possibly go on to win this match. They've still got Henry Taifu, who can come off the bench. Eritare Henry as another player that is there. And also, front row replacement-wise, I think they've got a couple other players they might be very keen to make their way out onto the field. And that's more like a one more try. New Zealand close it out, hopefully, as well. Says Novman, and also alrighty, Moana coming back in it. Says Sami Souza. And I guess points differential in the 7s is actually something to think about, isn't it? For New Zealand. They wouldn't mind winning this game by 14, but they would like it a lot more to win it by more. Now Jonathan Tamatine slings it out to Sakopi Kepu. It's a good attack and run. He's been dragged down by Matt Fazer, who now goes in through the side. It's another advantage against them, and that is something they need to be careful of. Now Sione Tuipolotu keeps himself. No, he doesn't keep himself on the field of play. He's wrestled out, and a good tackle by Fa'agasi. And, looks like there's a bit of handbags being thrown here at the moment. I'll say, yeah, I'm a Rebels fan. And there as well, says Amelia. Okay. Halfback on prop. That's another one for New Zealand. So they've actually managed to win that game now 17-0 with one more opportunity. So Sione Tuipolotu, he did get forced into touch initially. It's what happens next that obviously annoys him. So Jonathan Tamatine. Okay. So Matt Fazel's gone to the bin for 10 minutes. And Pa'angasi has to be pretty careful not to get himself a yellow card as well here. Right, they're good. It's going to be the penalty. But it is Matt Fazer now off the field for the next 10 minutes. New Zealand win up against Scotland 19-0 and makes that 2. Says Nathan there. And also we have got the Reds need to make a statement by putting... That is an absolutely awful kick. And O'Connor, luckily, has kicked it downfield back to Moana Pasifika, but that was an absolutely shocking kick for them there, unfortunately. Now, currently, ball's going to be available. Almost managed to hit the ref. Ray Nuia goes for a little grubber of mine, and it's curling towards the touchline. It will now be the Reds who have got the line out. We're only a few meters out from the 22. Also, we have got about the Reds need to make a statement by putting a big score on, says Lawrence. And also, we have got I reckon we won't win tomorrow, but all they have to do is not go down without a fight, and I'm happy, says Amelia. And also we've got the Havili, says Nathan. Yeah, not the one that they were after for that kick, that is for sure. Currently going short side once again here. I'm just looking through at the players that the USA have got. I don't see Perry Baker as of yet. I know that he ended up with an injury, unfortunately. That's actually another advantage in favour of MOANA Pasifika. Their discipline of the Reds has not been great for the second half. Oh no, Perry Baker is back for the USA. That is good news, as he was injured for a little while. And I was at 100. And there, as says Nathan, that is going back now for the initial penalty to MOANA Pasifika. This one needs to find touch now. High tackle. And it looks like Sakopi Kepu is running on pretty much empty at this point in time. Jonathan Tamatine, he wanted to take it quickly, but now he has to march back. He does put the ball down. There is no chance of a quick tap taken now for the Reds. They are well and truly structured and ready to try and defend. Right, William Havili needs to get this one right. This needs to find touch at least. Even if it's touched like 10 metres out or like 10 metres down the field, that's a good kick from William Havili. Now going to be about 25 metres out. I think I called him David Havili, so I do apologise for that. It is his brother. Both play for Tasman, though, in the Bunnings NBC, which is returning in only about 80 days. So that is going to be very exciting news. And I think they've actually announced some of the fixtures for the Bunnings NBC already, which does mean that we will be possibly covering as many of them as we physically can. Jonathan Tamatine now passing it off once again. That's nicely done from Christian Leleofano. Hanging on to it in the midfield, and it's back now to Latiro Tole, the replacement hooker. Now just made his way out there. Fraser McWright trying to get the turnover, was unable to do so. Also wonder why Stan Sport don't have a timer for the game, says Sensor. It's very weird because we don't have it for we've had it, I should say, for every other game, just not this one. Is there somewhere else I can watch the match as well, says Edmund. If you do want to see the game with the actual footage, unfortunately, other than paid subscription, only the highlights on YouTube that you will be able to see it afterwards. On Super Rugby YouTube channel, also on the All Blacks YouTube channel, Stan Sport YouTube channel, all three of those will have their own highlights of each of the games. But that is another penalty. It looks like Ryan Smith might have a bit of an injury to the shoulder at this point in time. It looks like Australia have just been able to score themselves their first try of the match up against the USA as well. Okay, 7's going to the bin now. So that is Fraser McWright, who now has to make his way off the field. This is just becoming penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty against the Reds now. And if they're not careful, they might end up in quite a bit of trouble. But I do see that Super Rugby Aotearoa Under-20s is kicking off this weekend as well, ladies and gentlemen. Those games will be taking place on Saturday. Unfortunately, I believe we will be asleep during a lot of that time just because, or else we will probably be very sleep deprived, I'd say overall. But yeah, it does start on the 5th of August on the Friday is when the Bunnings NBC does begin. And it's actually going to be the Bunnings NBC again, I believe, compared to other weekends. That's going to be the try to Perry Baker in the 7s. But we have just got an injury stoppage. So the Tirotale, it was a no-arms tackle from Angus Blythe. And the worst thing is he's actually hurt himself in the process of doing it, and no release from Fraser McWright. So that is why he has ended up going to the bin. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, be sure to check out the Kiwi Lads Sport channel. It is our second channel where we also cover rugby and all other sports. Be sure to check that out as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Currently, we are sitting on 866. We aren't too far away from that goal. Now the scrum feed is about to go down. It looks like no. In fact, it is going to be Asiata who does get to make his way out onto the field now. Gets a high five from Danny Tuala in the process. And Jordan Pataya, he will have to make his way off the field. And also, Hamish Bro, good evening, says Vishal. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Currently, there is only another 20 or so minutes left of this game. But they don't actually have a clock on the board, which does make it a little bit more tricky, I guess you could say, for us to work out what is going on for the timer. But we know that there is about 3/4 of this game gone, a quarter to go, and it is going to be a big old opportunity for MOANA Pasifika with a 2-man advantage to try and make the most of it. In fact, 23 minutes left in this game they have just shown on the clock. But it's a big push from the Reds. That ball is going to be popping out the back. It's a penalty to the Reds. And that is a massive push at scrum time, 7 versus 8. And they have been able to get themselves a brilliant shove and they win the penalty. And Harry Wilson, like they're saying, he knows how important that penalty was to be able to win. I think it was the big man, Dane Zander, got pretty well involved with that one. It was a big push. And MOANA Pasifika, they just parted in their scrum. They ended up with 3 men going one way, 5 men going the other, and they just ended up completely splitting off. He went straight up the middle, Richie Asiata, and did manage to get the penalty for his side. Now, the ball has been thrown almost in by Richie Asiata, so he's only been out on the field for a little bit of time. He is already getting an opportunity. And also, Amish New Zealand, 3 members coming in team positive. Henry Nichols, Tickner, and bowling coach. And there says Vishal, because they're not too far away from the English tour, are they? Are they currently in England, Vishal, or is it before they've made their way over? Do let me know. But now Tate McDermott goes short side. Siru finds a risky offload off to Asiata. Now 35 out. And if they can score a try with 13 men on the field, that would be absolutely huge for them in this match. But currently still not really given up at this stage. The Reds, they know how important 3 points on the board would be for them. James O'Connor kicks it in behind. Uses up a little bit more time on the clock, which is smart from James O'Connor, although he's holding his knee at the moment, which doesn't look too good for him. And has have 2 Reds, got 2 yellows in there. Says Mikey Boy, or have the Reds got 2 yellows? They certainly do. So the first one was for, what's his name? The starting number 2, who I've already forgotten, Hoffett. No, Faisler. It was Matt Faisler who did end up getting himself the yellow, and then Fraser McWright also in the bin for kind of back-to-back-to-back infringements from his side. So he was kind of the one who got the, I guess, short end of the stick. Oh, it's an interesting play from MOANA Pasifika. Extremely flat pass. That ball is now out. Jonathan Tamatine does try and snipe. There was possibly a little bit of contact on Samuel Slade there. And also Sussex County versus New Zealand practice match was rain delayed. And there says Vishal, but now Jonathan Tamatine gives it off to teammate Stowers. Still hanging on to it quite nicely for MOANA Pasifika. They need to keep on putting phase after phase, and with the 2-man advantage, should be some gaps out there somewhere. William Arvelli now drawing pass out to Tomasi Alosio. Has been shut down pretty well throughout a majority of this match. Now Solomone Funaki goes around the side. The ball is just on their side here for the MOANA Pasifika side. Now going back across. Nicely taken by Samuel Slade. Just continuing to try and find that gap that hasn't really opened up. Henry teammate Stowers on the halfway line, almost coming up for MOANA Pasifika. Now kicked him behind from Danny Tuala. It goes straight into touch. Not the choice that you need in that situation when you got so many men advantage. He knows that he's let them down as well there. USA up against Australia currently is sitting 12 points to 7, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone curious about that one. Now it looks like there is going to be a sub being made. Hey, the cat is below me. Hello. When did you get here? How did you get in? I think the door is closed. Okay, James O'Connor, he has gone off. So the knee is firing back up perhaps with some sort of injury. It's a no try for the USA by the looks of it at this current point in time. Is the cat going to come over for a sit down? That is the question. No, he's just going to look at me for the last little while of the live stream by the looks of it. It does mean that Lawson Crichton is going to be out on the field now, and he's getting some ice put on. I think they're just checking out with James O'Connor. But the fact that straight away he knew that something went wrong, I think is something that will make him quite concerned, because the Reds will need him for their upcoming games. If they don't have James O'Connor, they don't have their number 1 choice for fly-off, although Lawson Crichton has been going not too badly for himself either, but they would love to have O'Connor there for the next match. Richie Asiata throws it in, taken nicely by Ryan Smith. Now McDermott off to Wilson. That is a combo we might get to see for the Wallabies in the future games up against England. Now from the side, it is going to be Fangasi. Now knock on from Suliasi Vunivalu. Okay, so they still have Faisler and also McWright not on the field. So it's still 13 versus 15. And currently 61 minutes through this game at Suncorp Stadium. 19 to go. This is the last game of Union for Super Rugby that we have got tonight. But after that, we have got the game between Kenya and Fiji for the Sevens. Also alongside that one, we will then have a few more games of the Sevens later on at about 4 a.m. New Zealand time. We are hoping to do a few games And then after that, it is going to be the matchup, hopefully, between Ulster and the Sharks. That will be the last game. And hi, Billy. And there, as I says, David the Mod. At the moment, I feel like he's more intelligent than some people probably give him credit for, Billy, overall. Because we've seen in the past, like with Cats, I feel like that's Cats in general as well, I should mention. Because like he knows where the heat comes from. He knows that the fire is the hot spot. So he just sits in front of it. And like if the fire's not lit at like 4 or 5 p.m., he'll go looking for people to tell them, hey, the fire's not going. Make the heat box work. So he's quite a smart boy. Overall, he's just he's staring at a wall at this stage. That's unfortunate timing. I'll say hello. There's Edmund there as well. Welcome in once again, mate. Hope you are doing well. But yeah, the highlights of the game will be on Super Rugby's YouTube channel for you to be able to check out. And need James for the quarterfinal, says Nathan. They certainly do now. It's kicked him behind once again. And now this one is more of a 50-50. Tomasi Alosia has put it down. And now McDermott gets it off. That was close to flat to the hands of Jock Gamble. But the Reds, currently for Moana Pasifika, they just haven't been able to get that breakthrough that they need. So Lemoni Funaki unable to turn it over. Eritara Inari putting a lot of pressure on. And it's going to be the penalty to Moana Pasifika. Right, they're going to have a little tiny bit more time now. Perry Baker's going to score again up against Australia by the looks of it. That is going to be extremely useful for the USA. And also we have got there, who do you have taken out the sevens comp, says Mikey Boy. Oh, for me, at this point in time, have we seen Fiji? Have they played yet? They have not, have they? I think Fiji, their first game's up against Kenya. But, I mean, Ireland are looking very strong at the moment, to be honest. But I don't know whether or not I see them winning it completely. I feel like they'll do all right. But it's whether or not Fiji come to play. And also, his Cats are super intelligent but arrogant dogs are dumb but loyal to a fault. And there says David the Mod as well. Where's he gone? He's just disappeared. I think he's maybe at the door now, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I think it's going to be either... I'm going to pick 3 teams. No, I'm going to pick 2. It's either going to be South Africa or Fiji. Oh, how about Argentina, though? Argentina certainly cannot be underestimated. So they're another choice. Oh, I can't decide, but we are going to be covering a lot of those quarterfinal, semi-final matches. Nice little bit of silky skills from Moana Pasifika. And Tawa Nawa has just flattened out Tate McDermott, and then he's kicked the ball out on the full. Which is not what he would have been wanting, but McDermott, he wouldn't have known what was flying at him there. But it was Tamothi Tawa Nawai. Gets rid of him. And that is why you do not tackle high on a flying Fijian. And then a nice little bit of silky skills out the back from Solomon Ikata. He just got flattened, Tate McDermott. To be fair to him, the youngster got back up. And also, how's the game looks decent. I'm watching in a pub in Oxford as well. Says Flesh in there. Yeah, I hope you are enjoying your Friday morning, I guess, or Friday early afternoon. You will be, won't you, Fleshin, if I'm not wrong at the moment. But it's been an exciting one. I'm hoping Moana Pasifika get a try very soon just to make it that little bit closer and make the most of having that 2-man advantage. If they don't, I guess you would have to say that the Reds, they are certainly going to be the better side in this contest. It's going to be taken nicely by McDermott. I was unable to get round the side of the Moana Pasifika defense. Still hanging on to it nicely. It is going to be McDermott. Goes back short side off to Siru'uru. Possibly get himself a Wallabies call-up in the near future for the English tour. And it's going to be very intriguing to see who they decide to go with for that England tour. How many of those wingers that are in form currently for the competition do make it in. Now McDermott, it looks like they are going to be going for the box kick. By the looks of it, yeah, yes, he does. And Sam Slade unable to kind of get any sort of hand on it. Nicely done by Tawa Nawai. Almost knocked it on, but luckily for him, it did end up bouncing back. Uru goes around the side. It's another penalty against the Reds. Tawa Nawai does take it quickly. And now, you know what, Tate McDermott is a tough individual. He's just decided to muscle up with Tawa Nawai. Now it's the wide slinger pass. Solomon Ikata lined up by Filippo Dalgunu. It does bounce out of the tackle. Those guys would have played up against each other quite a bit. Inari, little grubber. It's going to be an awkward one. Tomasi Alosio not able to take it too cleanly. I think he's just flattened out Hamish Stewart, and I think he's done his wrist. I think he might have broken it, the way that he was reacting to that one. And it is going to be the stoppage there. It was a knock-on by the Moana Pasifika, but I think he's done something either to the wrist or the shoulder here for Hamish Stewart. The way that he fell. Tavatavanawa started getting some good speed going. Of course, Tate McDermott, the first man to get up and try and take that man down. I think Ryan Smith, or in fact, that was Angus Blythe, just giving him a little bit of afters as well. This doesn't look too good for Josh Fluke. So I believe he went back for it. He was then pushed down. Oh. Might have been the extension, and straight away went like this to the touchline. It won't surprise me if Uru gets a Wallaby call up, especially when Fiji has immense depth in the back row, but only you need a front rowers and fly halves. Yes, that's Sammy Souza. Okay, the green whistle for Josh Fluke. So I believe you only get the green whistle when you're in a huge amount of agonizing pain or they're trying to put something back into place. I think he might have possibly dislocated his shoulder. And also we get a great commentary tonight. Amish looking forward to tomorrow, says David the Mod. Yeah, it should be a very exciting one for the first time. We are doing 2 live commentaries at the same time. Corey Tall goes through and scores a try for Australia there. McDermott, what a second. And there as well, says Nathan. It does look like Josh Fluke is unfortunately going to be not looking too flash currently. I think the referee, unfortunately for them, they do have to try and move him at this stage for Josh Fluke. And he is just in the field of play. So I believe they might consider just trying to get him back to his feet. And also, I haven't seen the green whistle since watching Bondi Rescue Series. I was thinking the same thing. I think that was the last time that I seen the green whistle. It seemed like a thing of only myths. He's sucking on the green whistle, which does mean more than likely the dislocation. They're going to have to try and either put it back in or he may have done some more serious damage to it. But the fact that he was still competent enough after doing it to kind of wave and say, hey, this is not good. This is not good. Rather than just like being in agonizing pain is a slightly good sign for him. Either that or he's just got a really tough like pain threshold. Fraser McWright looks very confused at the moment. Seen himself up on the big screen as well. But Tate McDermott, he's limping a little bit, but that man has been through an absolute battle out there on the field at the moment. Oh, nicely done from Perry Baker. He's done Corey Toole. It looks like USA might be able to get themselves a winner at the same time. I look forward to that. Says David the Mod there as well. And also we have got there, what team do you side? And there says Joseph, for this match, I mean, I've got a soft spot for Moana Pasifika due to the fact that they are a new side in the competition. Plus, I've watched a lot of these guys in the Bunnings NPC, but the Reds are also a very tough contender. You cannot count them out of any matchup. This will be, if they win it, their first win up against New Zealand opposition, which would be pretty massive for them. But Dave Rennie watching on. Looks like he's very concentrated at the moment. It's going to be a nice push, and the Reds have been able to hang on to the ball once again. Now Crichton goes with the wide pass out to Suliasi Vonevalu. Flick out the back to Jock Campbell. Oh, it's a great ankle tap there from Tavatavanawa. Absolutely brilliantly done. Tavatavanawa at the moment, I think he's pretty fired up, and some beautiful women were on Bondi Rescue, says David the Mod there as well. That's a brilliant tackle from Tavatavanawa. He comes out of nowhere, gets the ankle tap, or it wasn't even an ankle tap, it was a knee tap, really. And he was able to do extremely well for himself. Harry Wilson, I think he's fired up for this game currently. They know that they still need probably one more try, at least, or even just a three-pointer. A three-pointer would win them this game, and the Reds, they're actually going for the 7 here. They want a bonus point. That would be an interesting one to see how that kind of develops in the later stages. This looks like it's going to be a try now for Australia. So because of it, it does mean that that game between Australia and the USA is getting just a little bit closer. Going to be taken very nicely by Harry Wilson. Had a lot of pressure on him. Suru with the step. So then only about 10 metres out from the line now. Nice run forward from the Reds forwards. The ball's bounced out, but it's going back for the penalty right this time For me, you take the 3. Even though you haven't got James O'Connor, this kick should be easy enough to have anyone slotted over. And ironic, not many women make the Bondi rescue team despite the lifeguards open to everyone in there. Says Sammy Souza. And now it is going to be 22 metres out, and Lawson Crichton from 22 out with the number 22 on his back. I think he is going to go for the 3 points, but it was nicely taken by Harry Wilson. The initial advantage came for playing the man in the air at line-out time. Okay, they've got Tate McDermott out on the wing, but they are going to be taking on the 3 points for this one. Currently, through this match, we are sitting approximately 67 minutes through we'll go. Even though that says 69, they're normally just a little bit ahead. So now with this kick, if it goes over, you'd have to say that the Reds would be able to finish out this game with a victory. But if this one misses, could be a big opportunity for Moana Pasifika to try and get themselves some points on the board. He strikes it, Crichton misses. And that is a big one. And now it will be play on. Looks like Moana Pasifika want to run their way back out. And it's going to be a nice bit of draw and pass almost for Henry Taifu. And also we've got that Bullet Kiwi guy in there. Says, Ratu, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing well. Hope you are excited for the 7s that we have got on later on. Harry Wilson gets the interception. And that now will be the win. I just ordered a Reds jersey from an Australian rugby site. Just got informed it's been shipped from China. Obviously a fake. Says Flesh in there. Do you know what the website's called, Fleshin? Out of curiosity, do let me know. And also, how much was the jersey for the Reds? But hopefully, even though if it is a fake, hopefully it's still decent quality. I feel like that's like the best case scenario. So Tater's on the wing, despite being a specialist halfback and first choice 9 for the Wallabies. And then says Sammy Sosa, he was for that set play anyway. And it was nicely done. I think it was just to give them like a second look at something else happening. Although one also true, says Nathan, but it is Harry Wilson who has gone in, scored the try, and I believe the USA have just been able to get themselves a victory up against the Australians. So that is a big one to have. But Wilson has done very nicely. He has scored it in the 70th minute of this game. That one has gone over, and now Moana Pasifika would need 3 converted tries if they do want to be able to get themselves there. It sounds like a rip-off, and also, yes, Sammy Sosa, very true. Or yes, true. And there says David the Mod. But yeah, I think it was just to try and throw, maybe make them think that they were going to quick tap so they didn't want to charge or something. I don't know what they had planned. Or maybe if it did deflect, then they were going to be able to have him out wide for a good option. But currently now, Harry Wilson, he scores the try for the Reds and 34 points to 15 now. That's how this game is currently sitting. But Lincoln McClutchy is about to line up this kick. As we sit with the men playing England and Canada into the 7 side. Yeah, man, so excited. Says Ratu there, and we are going to be covering a few other games on the channel in the later stages of the night. The next game that we are covering for the 7s, it is actually Fiji versus Kenya, which is kicking off in an hour and 4 minutes time. And then after that, I believe the next game will be around 4 a.m. for the next one that we are going to be covering. Kalani Thomas goes back to Crichton. Now kicked him behind. My cat has come back to sit next to me by the looks of it for the later stages of the game. Now William Harveli goes off to Lincoln McClutchy. Tava Nawai, bit of space down the wing for him. Try and use, but he's going to be tackled well by Hamish Stewart, and also Harry Wilson was able to help stop him from making any extra momentum. Now Henry teammate Stowers. Good counter right from the Reds there, and they aren't too far off getting themselves a bonus point in this game. Remember, it is 3 tries or more gets you a bonus point. That is 3 tries or more than your opposition. And also we've got the Order of Blues jersey. We'll ship it from New Zealand. And there says Nathan, now a nice drive forward from Lincoln McClutchy. Now Eritara Enery. It's a loose pass, but it does manage to find the hands of Solomon Kata, trying to make its way through that Reds defense, which has been pretty solid throughout this whole match. Even though they were playing with 13 men at one point, they still weren't leaking too many tries. But now Lincoln McClutchy gives it back now across to Eritara Enery. Offloaded to Henry Taifu, close to the touchline. Just inside of that 22, that is going to be kicked out of the hands of Lincoln McClutchy. And it will now be a line out for the Reds. So the ball is just not quite bouncing the way that Moana Pasifika would like for the second half. Even though they did get themselves their first try, they just didn't quite seem like another try was coming anytime soon. But Tomasi Alosio just ran out of space there. And I'm hoping they do show the scoreboard at some stage. Lisa Moana are fortunate not to have 60 plus put on them since it's been a difficult season with that flu, death, and consistency crisis And so the defo wasn't cheap, like most well-disguised, obviously, in an office in Australia. Says Flesh in there as well. But yeah, do you know the website name, Flesh in, out of curiosity? Because I assume it wasn't Rebel Sport. Because I feel like that's probably the most well-known Australian one that they have got. But that is now going to be the knock-on. And scrum feed for the Reds. I think that's just a try in the corner for Davis there. For England. Well, it looks like, but the cat he's off again. He's decided that the fire's not quite warm enough, I think, at the moment. So what I will do, as soon as this match is over, I will probably put some more wood on the fire, and then he will be a very happy cat. I've got to the stage how if I know that it's going to be a relatively cold day, I'll put a chair not directly in front of the fire, but just a little bit further back, like a meter or two, and then he just sits on it, waiting for a real sport. And there as well, says Nathan there. Currently now it is going to be the scrum feed for the Reds on their own 22 now. Okay. They have said that there's too much movement, so it hasn't quite worked out for them at this stage. Or actually, no, it won't be Rebel Sport, because Rebel Sport don't even ship to New Zealand from Australia. I don't believe. So I don't think it will be Rebel Sport. I did buy a Melbourne Stars kit. And sorry, Hamish, what time is the next stream? Says David. So the next one that we are doing, one moment, I will quickly load it up. It is going to be at 12:30 a.m. for our next one. So in about 55 minutes time, we will be live for Kenya versus Fiji. And then after that, it's about 4 a.m. the next one after that we will be doing on the channel. So we've got a little bit of time in between this one and the next one. And then after that, we've got an even bigger gap in between the next one and the one after that. So during that gap, we'll probably end up doing our previews for the matches tomorrow, the editing side of things, that is, and then also a couple other little bits and bobs, getting thumbnails and all sorts ready for the busy weekend. My cat is looking at me. Once again, he's just kind of staring. I bet you sometimes cats wish they were taller. See what was going on up here. Currently 75 minutes into this game, only 5 minutes left. Hopefully their suspended players like Levi Amua are available against the Brumbies next week just to finish strong after being nailed by the short turnarounds. So Sammy So's exactly right. Hopefully they can get someone to really step up in that game. That's going to be short side Eritara Inery. I believe they've called that as a knock-on against Eritara Inery. In fact, it's turned into a penalty for a deliberate knockdown. Oh, no. Okay, yes, it is deliberate knock-on. I thought for a second they were saying that it was also a high shot, which I feel like would have been pretty unlucky for him. But Canada have scored themselves another try, and it's Russell has been able to go down the wing and score it. Canada are really doing nicely right. They are going to be checking this one, checking if there's a clear overlap to see whether or not Eritara Inery for the last 4 minutes of this game will end up going to the bin. Right, we are just waiting for the TMO. You'd have to argue there are a couple men out there, but clear overlap, yellow card for Eritara Inery. So now it does mean that Moana Pasifika will have to play with only a few men left. And by that I mean 14, but they will be disappointed with that one. And Eritara Inery just had to wait for the chair to become available for him to be able to sit down. But now Lawson Crichton kicks it for the touchline. And the Reds currently, as you can see here from the statistics, the Reds try scorers, they have had 2, 3, 4, 5. Moana Pasifika in this game, they have had 2. So the way that we are currently sitting, the Reds would have themselves a bonus point. It doesn't say it on the scoreboard, but it doesn't have the time either. So it's kind of expected. At the stage in China are so despicable when it comes to product rip-offs. There's David the Modern also about the suspended players. So hopefully Levi Amua can come back for that. Because I know that there was, who was that player? Ray Nu'u, wasn't it? How he got suspended, did a course on tackling, passed the course. Ryan Smith just hanging on to the shirt of Alex McRobbie, trying to fire him up. And also Brisbane and Gold Coast, the #1 spot for rugby league gears. That gets the latest gears in there as well. Says Nathan, now it's going to be the wide cutout pass out to Tate McDermott. Nicely done. He's going to be cutting on the inside through the tackle, Lincoln McClutchy. Now the Reds with only a couple minutes left. Kalani Thomas gives it off to Connor Vest, starting at number 19 for this game. Or I guess coming off the bench at number 19 for this game, I should say. Kalani Thomas now goes back once again Nice inside ball from Lawson Crichton was almost available there. That ball was almost stolen from Jack Lamb as well. Now Kalani Thomas pop pass up. It's going to bounce on the back. I believe that will be accidental offside plus a knock on. And it's kind of got a very scrappiness to it now. But now it's going back across in the hands of Solomoni Kata, trying to link up with Tawhatanawai on the outside, but is unable to do so. Now Latiro Tole goes back across. I believe that's Joe Apakatoa. Now Tawhatanawai plays halfback. William Havili ball on the outside out to Time Stowers. That's forward, but they will be playing on just for now. Tomasi Alosio hanging on to it just for Moana Pasifika. They've had real presence in the breakdown throughout this match. The Reds has made it extremely difficult and also a great game to both teams. Moana only going to get better like the Pumas did in Super Rugby as well, says Louis. Exactly right. The longer that they play, the more, I guess, chemistry that these sides build with each other, the absolute better that they will be off for it. Now William Havili plays half. Gets it off to Lincoln McClutchy, who was looking possibly for an offload. Has Scott Young got red here, or is that just the... Oh, no, it's just the logo. William Havili finds the offload to Jack Lamb now up to 40 metres out. Moana Pasifika, if they score now, that will take away that bonus point. And as the last thing that they will want, the Reds, they will want to make sure that they get the full 5 points available for them. And now Solomoni Kata passes off to Tawhatanawai. Now Lincoln McClutchy sells the dummy on the inside, flicks it back. That was close to the touchline, but they have said that he's just in play. So Tawhatanawai moves up to 10 metres out. And this could be a great opportunity for the Moana Pasifika side to get their second try of the second half. Jack Lamb with another carry forward, and also the same thing can be said about the Drua, despite that masterclass of the hiding they got before this game. Here's Sammy Sosa there as well. But currently, Moana Pasifika, they want to try and change this game for the final couple moments, see if they can really, I guess it would just ruin the chances for the Reds a little bit. They're only a couple metres out. Currently, Henry Stowers over the top. That is a try. And Henry teammate Stowers scores it. And that will take away the bonus point of the Reds. We go like this. Wow. Moana Pasifika, they have scored 3 tries. All 3 tries have been scored by their loose forward trio. So you've got to give them a huge round of applause for that effort. But that will be a time that the Reds won't be too happy with. Oh, they're checking whether or not there was the touchline. Maybe his foot was out a little bit earlier on. But I think they have said that it is going to be all right. And also, cheers to the Reds win and Moana. And there says Louis. Okay, so that has taken away the bonus point. And nice Moana solid in there, says Nathan. So currently 14 points difference between the two sides. I believe in my preview, I did guess 6 points in favour of the Reds. So I was a little bit wrong. And I think, like they're saying, Aaron Major, he doesn't mind. That ball might have been in touch, or the foot in touch, but they have got time for one more reset and worth the consolation, though, for Moana and there, says Sammy Sosa. Exactly right, Moana Pasifika taking that one. No, they don't. Tawhatanawai close to the touchline, tries to spin out of the tackle. And tell you what, they may still get within the points that I mentioned. If they get themselves another try, they might get a little bit closer, and it looks like a nice flat ball from Moana Pasifika continuing, try and get themselves back in this game. The only problem is they could get it wrong. And if they get it wrong, they will probably get punished by giving the Reds themselves that bonus point back, because I don't think the Reds will want this one. Not a great Reds performance, but a victory nonetheless. Exactly right. And L Rugby, I think it was the older classic shirt. So it was £40, not that expensive, could be okay. And there says Fleshin as well. I haven't actually heard of L Rugby, unless it's AI Rugby, and I still haven't heard of it for that one. So hopefully you do get a legitimate one for yourself. And now Henry, teammate Stowers. I believe we are past 80 minutes currently as we sit in this game. But it's very hard to tell because, once again, there's no scoreboard clock for us to be able to keep track. But now William Havili goes back across to the short side, Joe Apakatoa. And I feel like this is really summarising Moana Pasifika to a T here. Even though they are out of this game, they are still continuing to try and fight to get a little bit closer. They could get themselves a bonus point here if they do score a try, which would be massive for them. Now it's going to be the backline, Solomoni Kata trying to cut. That is going to be the knock on. And I believe with that, it's back in the hands of the Reds. That was a mistake from Lincoln McClutchy. And a nice little bit of silky skills. Now Lawson Crichton, good tackle on him. Now McDermott gets it, goes off to Sururu. That was forward by a lot. And they're going to claim it. Surely you're going to go back to check that one. They've given it as the try, though. Was that not forward by about 2 meters? Surely they checked that, but it is going to be the try for the Reds if it does stand. Although I'm hesitant to add it on the board at this point in time. Do they go upstairs to check it for Suru'uru's pass? And also forward, says Nathan there as well, but it was nicely done by Crichton. But I mentioned about the fact that Moana Pacifica may end up shooting themselves in the foot. So this one from Suru'uru to McDermott, that's forward, unfortunately. But I don't think they're going to call it. I think the commentators haven't even mentioned it. But now they are checking Suru'uru's one forward by a lot. And that will be the end of the match, I think. Very good tackle in there as well, says Sammy Souza. And yes, that was forward, says Nov Mum. It's quite interesting, though, because I didn't hear a single one of the commentators mention it for it. It has to go backwards out of their hands. Now they are saying it is going to be no try, and it will finish at 34 points to 22, so no bonus point for them. That was a netball pass, says Nathan there, and I'm forward, I think, yep. And there as well, says Louis, and I say, yep, that was forward, says Novman. But nonetheless, I guess that is going to be the end of this live stream. Thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back in about 45 minutes' time for Fiji versus Kenya for the seven side of things, which should be very exciting. And then after that, we've got a few more matches later on tonight for the sevens, as well as the matches tomorrow for Super Rugby, the URC. We are hoping to cover later on tonight. Nonetheless, do thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all